Hello everyone, my name is Ogenete Mamogo and you are welcome to Oakscam Academy. Now if you are new to my channel, kindly hit the subscription button below, also like, share and of course avail yourself to the lessons so as not to be left behind. Welcome back. In today's lesson under acid, base and salt, we're going to be focusing on salt. In our previous lessons, we have talked about acids, we have also talked about base. If you are yet to watch those videos, please check them out in my channel. They are titled Acid, Base and Salt, for acid and for base. Okay, so let's get right into it. Now, today we're talking about salt, but what is salt? Now, if I say what is salt, most times what our mind goes to is our common salt that we use at home for cooking, which is our sodium chloride, right? But funny enough, that is not the only type of salt that we have. We'll have different types of salt, and that's what we're going to be explaining in today's lesson. But first things first, what is salt? Now, salt can be defined as a chemical compound formed by replacing the hydrogen ions of an acid with the metallic or ammonium ions of the compound. So it's a compound formed rather by replacing the hydrogen ions of an acid with ammonium or metallic ions. So that's what we call salt. Another definition can be that a salt is the only compound formed or the only product formed aside from water whenever an acid reacts with a base. So a salt can be defined as the only product formed aside from water whenever an acid is reacted with a base. This is what we call a neutralization reaction. Remember in our previous lessons, I talked about neutralization reaction and I said that this is a reaction formed whenever an acid reacts with a base. So in that kind of reaction, salt and water is formed. So these are the two definitions of salt that I'm giving you. Any one works, but that is how salt is defined. Now we have different types of salt, like I mentioned earlier. We have our normal salt, we have our acidic salt, we have our basic salt, we have our double salt, and we also have our complex salt. So I'm going to be explaining them one after the other. Please feel free to leave questions in the comment section below. Also, if you have watched the video to this point, give us a thumbs up and of course subscribe. Okay, so but moving on, first salt we have here is our normal salt. Now, what is a normal salt? A normal salt is a salt formed when the hydrogen ions of an acid is completely replaced by the metallic or ammonium ions of a base. So a normal salt is a salt formed when the hydrogen ions of an acid is completely replaced by the metallic or ammonium ions of a base. A perfect example is the reaction between HCl and NaOH. So when HCl reacts with NaOH, your product formed is NaCl and water. And as you can see, the hydrogen of the HCl is replaced in the product side by the sodium ion. So this is an example of a normal salt. Another definition of a normal salt, that a normal salt is a reaction between a strong acid and a strong base. Normal salt is formed whenever a strong acid is reacted with a what? Strong base. So that is the definition of your normal salt. I hope you understand. Then we have our acidic salt. Now, acidic salts are formed when the hydrogen ions of an acid is partially replaced by the metallic ion of the base. Now, don't forget, I said for the normal salt, the hydrogen ion is completely replaced by the metallic ion. But for your acidic salt, the hydrogen ion is only partially replaced by the metallic or ammonium ion. So this kind of salt is formed whenever a strong acid is reacting with a weak base. Okay, so whenever a strong acid reacts with a weak base, what we have is an acidic salt. I hope you understand. I talked about types of acids in my previous video. Please check that out under acid, base, and salt, but focus on acid. And I gave you examples of strong acids and weak acids. I told you that strong acids include HNO3, H2SO4, and so on and so forth. And then your weak acids include acetic acid, etc. So please watch that video. So that is for your acidic salt. Now for your basic salts are those salts that have the presence of the hydroxide ion. So that's your OH group. Your basic salts have the presence of the OH ion. Now your basic salts are formed whenever a strong base reacts with a weak acid. So when a strong base reacts with a weak acid, your product will be a basic salt. And these salts are formed because there is not enough hydrogen ions present to fully neutralize the base. I hope you understand. So that is how a basic salt is formed. Now, moving on, double salt. What is a double salt? A double salt is formed by reacting two simple salts which ionize together to produce three different types of ions. Now, out of these three different types of ions, two are usually positive and one is negative. So that is a double salt. I hope you understand. So take note of the example given in the video. That's an example of what a double salt. So like I said, two simple salts ionizing to give what? Three different ions. Two are usually positive and the other is negative. So that is for your double salt. And then lastly, under the types of salt, we have complex salt. So what is a complex salt? A complex salt is formed by the combination of two simple salts. So when two simple salts react together, what you have is a complex salt. Another definition of a complex salt is that salt is formed when a central atom is surrounded by ligands. Ligands are ions that can donate an electron pair to the metal or to the metal. So don't forget, I said a complex salt is a salt formed by the combination of what? Two simple salts. You can also refer to complex salt as a salt formed when a central metal ion is surrounded by ligands. And I just explained what ligands are. So these are complex. An example of a complex salt is potassium ferrocyanide. So these are the types of salts that you have. So you can see that we don't only have neutral salt, which is your NaCl. We also have these types of salt. Now, please take note. Under the pH scale, an acidic salt will be less than 7. So remember I mentioned that in the pH scale, it ranges from 0 to 14 and 6 to 0 being acidic. An acidic salt will range under the acidic scale of the pH, okay? And it will turn blue litmus paper red. Then same thing for your basic salt. Your basic salt will range in the basic scale of the pH and it will turn red litmus paper blue. So these are your examples of salts or the types of salts. I hope you understand. Okay, feel free to leave questions in the comment section below. Lastly, we have uses of salt. Now, salts have numerous uses. First, we know that salt is used in cooking. That's the most common use. Salts are also useful in industries, in production of fertilizers, laxatives, washing. Okay, salt is also used as a drying agent, okay, in the laboratory. And of course, we know that salts are useful in the production of batteries, etc. So these are just to mention a few uses of salt. In our next class, we're going to be talking about the nature of salt. So please, till the next class, I remain your tutor, Ogenetiju Mamugo. Have a wonderful day.